Hello, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Joe Monroe Show as we are celebrating Podcasters Appreciation Month. And as you can see, we finally got our intro up on StreamYard. Thank goodness. But before we get into our guest tonight, let's go ahead and shout out some sponsors. First and foremost, we want to thank Phenomenal Finds ATO. If you're looking for anything retro, whether it be professional wrestling, Disney, anything that you can possibly think of, check out phenomenalfindsatl.com. We also want to thank our partners and sponsors, Triple Crown Wrestling and Ultimate Championship Wrestling, as they are bringing back professional wrestling as it should be, as well as Les Murphy Painting. If you have any trouble with any painting needs, whether it be inside, outside, contact Les Murphy Painting at 734-334-3702. Now, my next guest was a last-minute guest, but I'm happy I was able to get him here, folks. Representing, I am so sorry. Allergy season is upon us, and it is getting me today. Representing the Wrestling Society Network, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Herman, Professor Bear, Cade. My friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, and you rushed that to me last minute, and I was like, yeah, I can squeeze one more in. And I seen you were from Knoxville. We'll get a little bit later into that. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. Because I may be a Southeast Kentucky boy, but Knoxville wrestling was something I grew up on. So we may talk about that in just a minute. Let me share some things here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Sharing around that way people can come in and see. But what first question I always ask, what got you loving this crazy sport of professional wrestling?
Well, for me, it was my parents, Herman Cade Sr. and Mary Cade, mostly my father. He was a big wrestling fan, and he used to take us, me and my brothers and sister, we used to go to the local promotion here in Knoxville, and every Saturday at 6:05, you better be quiet or get out the house because nobody made noise if you didn't want the wrath of Herman Cade on you, because we were going to be watching Georgia Championship Wrestling.
That's how my grandfather was with my mom. It was always him and her, and they would literally get into fights over wrestling. So I totally understand that. So we discussed off camera for a little bit, getting to know each other. You lived in Knoxville basically your whole life, correct?
Yes, 50 years.
All right. And of course, we talked a little bit, and you said that you've seen some wrestling shows around Knoxville. We talked a little bit. One of my personal favorites was Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You probably remember that pretty well. Have you went to any of their shows?
Yeah, I went to a few of them. I can tell you a pretty good story about the time I met Jim Cornette in person.
Go ahead. We love stories on this show.
So they were having a NWA convention in Charlotte, and me and my buddy, it was 4 of us going over, but me and one of my friends, we went to the local wrestling in Knoxville that Friday night, and I can't remember what promotion it was, but it wasn't Smoky Mountain. But Jim happened to be there, and we seen him, and you hollering and saying stuff to people. Well, the next day he happened to be part of the signing class, and it was him and the Midnight Express, Dennis and Bobby Eaton. So we went in line getting people to sign autographs. So we came up to him, and I was like, man, Jim, I loved you. I said, I hated you, but I love to hate you. And then went down to Dennis. I was like, man, y'all were just the coolest tag team. Then I get down to Bobby, and Bobby signs. I was like, man, I appreciate you. Then I took 3 steps away from him. Then I turned around like, wait a minute, you talk? Jim Cornette was sitting there drinking a Pepsi and spit that Pepsi everywhere at that joke. Bobby looked at me like he was going to rip me apart, but he didn't. So the next day, me and my
Well,
buddy
Bobby,
were trying
he's
to,
so quiet though.
yeah. So the next day, we're trying to find the ATM machine so I could get some cash out. And me and my buddy just looking around. And all of a sudden, Bobby came out. No, I swear I did not see Bobby anywhere beforehand because I was looking all around. Before I knew it, I saw him and he ran up on me. And he looked at me. He's like, "What you got to say now?" I looked at my friend. I looked at him. Now I'll give you a little context. I'm 6'4", but I'm a big guy, but I don't see myself as a big guy. I just see myself normal. So Bobby said that, I'm flinching up like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me. And I kind of balled up my fist because I'm like, if I throw a punch, he's gonna kill me for real. And he hugged me. He's like, I got you.
Oh man, was that at the? Was it the gathering that you went to?
No, this was no, it may have been. It may have been because I believe it was like in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
My date could be off, but I think it may have been. I can't remember.
Okay, because I was fixing to say they usually have the gathering in North Carolina.
Yeah,
So that could, or it could just been some random convention and they were there. But no,
and
that's a great
and
story.
no, and then so here's the worst. Well, not the worst part, the funnier part of it. So this was when Jeff Jarrett was running GWF, and they were doing baseball stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
So um, there was a convention here, and I ran to Dr. Tom Pritchard, and me and him talked, and he gave me free tickets to it. So I was like, "Oh wow, thank you." So me and my ex-wife, we went there, and I ran to Jim Cornette again. And I said, and I talked to him for a second. I was like, "Yeah, you probably don't remember me." He said, "Oh yeah, I remember you." I'm like, "Man, come on now. After the millions and millions of fans that you interact with, there ain't no way you remember me." How about he told the whole story? And he said, at this point, every 10 years we're gonna get together and tell this story.
Well, he's going to have to get you either on the experience or the drive-through there. So,
Right. But
so
that
Jim, if you're hearing this by chance, get him on your show. That way, y'all can tell that story again. Because I know you're not going to get out of the house after COVID, my friend. Well, I don't blame him either. But with that great story, so what got you starting your show, the Wrestling Society Network?
well, it was the owner of the show. His name is Brady Owens, and he owns the whole thing. And he started back in 2018, and he wanted to do podcasts, do different things, but he was doing it by himself, and he found out quickly that he needed a good team behind him to help do it. So he he put it to the side, and then in 2021 he was on Facebook and he put up an ad for people who wanted to do a podcast. Well, at the time, me and my fiance, now my wife, we were sitting around and I told her about it. And she was like, "You need to do it." And I was like, "Well, nah, nobody's going to want to hear me talk about that." You know, she was like, "Baby, you would debate with anybody. If God came right down right now, you would debate with God." So I thought about what she said, and I was like, "Hey, who knows?" So I took a chance, and Brady liked me, and he brought me along, and we had a team. He built the team, and we started the podcast, and we were just, and even today, we're wrestling fans that are blessed to be able to talk about our passion and to talk about the business from our point of view.
Wow, that is amazing. James Adams says hello, hello, James. He's a referee up
Hey.
here. All right, Jonathan. Jeez, there's this running gag that I look like Kevin Owens. No, I don't look like Kevin Owens. Jeez Louise.
Honestly, I did think it, but I wasn't going to say it.
Well, at least you kept it to yourself. Thanks. I'm kidding. Jonathan's a big fan of the show. Thank you for tuning in, Jonathan. So you were telling me a little bit, as I spotted to the side there, you have some video games. Not many people know this, but I'm a big video gamer myself. And you said you got a whole lot of wrestling video games. So can you name off which games you have?
Whoa! So I got the original from just NES. I got the original WWE game. I got the first and only NWA/WCW game. I have King of the Ring. I got a steel cage match from WWE, and I got what is that one? I got Pro Wrestling for Nintendo, the tag team for Nintendo. And that is it for Nintendo. Super Nintendo, I have a WCW one. I have Super, I can't remember. I have so many games. I can tell you this. I have all of WWE's version for PlayStation 3, 4, and 5, except for 2020, because it was so screwed up. I didn't get it.
I don't blame you there. It really was not that. It wasn't good. It was like AEW, and no offense to AEW, but it was like that game. So glitchy, and they didn't even bother with it.
Well, and I do have AEW too. I have some. I got the AAA. AAA came out with a wrestling game. I have it.
I seen it.
I got the Backyard Wrestling, which I just got 2 weeks ago. I got their 2 games.
Let's see. While you're looking, Jonathan Helm says, "I wish they would remake the SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, my favorite game." You know, there is talks. I've heard them talk about it. They're talking about doing a remastered version. Now, that is regarded as one of the best wrestling games ever. I'm a big video game person. Yeah, go ahead and make fun of me. I know you guys are, but that's probably top 5 games easy. Now, this recent one we was talking about a little bit, 2K24, it's up there. I know you said you bought it and you haven't really played it much, but I urge everybody, if you're looking for a wrestling game that's worth it, so far so good, and none of the DLC has came out yet.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take a little time and play it. I got to get my GM mode in.
You know, I like the GM mode. I like the, what is it? My Rise, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. The showcase for WrestleMania is great. I'm very surprised they had the Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior match. That one surprised me. So yes, Rick Rude's back in the game. For those who don't know, that's one of the things that got me. I was like, oh, Ravishing Rick Rude's on here. Let's see. Oh, Jonathan Helms wanting to know, what about Legends of Wrestling? It's one of my favorite games, but worst game there ever was Raw for the Xbox.
I got all of them.
I can't disagree with the Raw one. It was a little, but Legends of Wrestling, that was the first one that kind of had multiple wrestlers from different promotions all in one game. So yeah, that's an iconic game. I wish I had the first one too. It's a lot of money now. I wish I had it, but
I got the first one, second one, and the third one.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I'm jealous. Let me guess. PlayStation?
Yes.
Oh, PlayStation. Let's see. Oh, Mike D from Wrestling from the 313. What's up, fellas? What's going on, Mike D? How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm glad you chimed in, Mike, because Mike is the one that gave me your info. So, man, thank you again, Mike. Enjoyed the conversation, and we definitely gonna do it again, my friend.
Oh, dang, Mike, I didn't know that. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And his shirt, I still got to ship it out. Sorry, Mike. Been busy, brother. I hope I get it shipped out soon. Jonathan Helm says, I got the first one and second one. I don't have the rest. I think there was only 3
It
that
is
was
only
made,
3.
and they
Oh,
kind of stopped.
I tell you a game that I got because of the nostalgia of getting wrestling games, but it got to be the worst for women's wrestling is Rumble Roses.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
I was so irritated and I was like, man, this is just a R-rated game that says it's wrestling. It's terrible.
It is very terrible. No. Let's see. My favorite one. What's that? It's set up like an NES arcade game, but it's based in Japan. What is it called? Oh goodness gracious! Any other time? Any
Um,
other
the New
other time?
Japan one.
Yes, that one. That
Yeah,
one.
I got that one too. And the funny part about that one, I hadn't played it yet. It's still wrapped up in the wrapper.
Now that one, if you're into like the old school games, like how the original like WrestleMania game was, how it's like an 8-bit style
Right.
game, I highly recommend it. Fire Pro Wrestling, that's what it's
That's
called.
it.
Thank you, Jonathan Helm. It is Fire Pro Wrestling. That's a great game, wrestling game for those wrestling enthusiasts out there. Get to talk about video games here. We talk about anything on this show. So I just happened to see that while we were talking. I was like, okay, we're talking about this today. So you're the first guest that's talked about wrestling video games. So thank you, Professor, for that.
Oh, no problem. And as you can see behind me, I have a wall full different systems, and so
You are definitely
oh,
a collector.
and I tell you the one that I'm going to be getting very soon. That
Mhm.
was it was hard one to find, but I found it, and I'll be getting it. The rare wrestling game for Sega CD.
Oh goodness. What is it? You got to remind me.
I think it's WWF Rage in the Cage.
Yes, that's what it is. So you're getting it.
I'm getting it.
Are you going to play it or are you going to leave it alone?
I got to play it. It reminds me of when I used to work at Toys R Us and seeing all these games I couldn't afford and said one day I was going to get. Well, I didn't know it was going to be like 20, 30 years later, but still.
We got it. So you work at Toys R Us, so you've seen all those Hasbro's and everything come in too, right?
Oh yeah. At one point, I had the collection of all of them. I got every last one of them. But when you're a father and a family man, you have to let some things go. And unfortunately, my babies needed things and I couldn't afford it. So I went and sold a lot of it.
No, I got 2 kids myself, so I completely understand that. But I wish we can they'd go back down to their, what was they, like $5, $6 back then?
Yeah.
I wish they'd go back down to those prices.
I know, right?
Make it easy on us collectors. Jeez Louise, like a whole set. What's the WWE, the what are they called? Not Superstars. What are they called? I think they're not Superstars. Superstars is the like this one, like Piper I got here. That's the Superstar line.
Right.
What am I thinking of? It's basically the new version of Hasbro's. Maybe Jonathan can help me out here. He's also a big collector too.
I think I know the ones you're talking about. I just can't think of.
Hang on. Let's see. Do I have one here? I do have one. Piper, actually. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this thing. They look like this. Yeah.
I used to have a bunch of them.
A whole set. I think it's the DX set that's on Ringside Collectibles. It's like $50-$60. I was like, get out of town. Come on, really? It's like, geez, I wouldn't even pay that much for Elites, let alone Ultimates. Jeez. So is there anything aside from I know you said Hasbro, is there anything aside from video games and Hasbro's that you collect or have collected in the past, wrestling wise?
The first wrestling thing that I can remember that my parents got me was a wrestling ring. And I don't know how old you are, but you heard of AWA?
Are you talking about the cardboard ring? Not, it looked like a cardboard ring that had the. Yes, I know which ring you are talking about.
Yeah, that was the ring I had, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I had it until I was 23. When I got married, I thought, let me go on and get rid of this.
Now I think back, you're like, I should have kept it.
Yeah, and crazy enough, I've been looking, trying to find it. If I find it at a decent price, it's coming home to Papa.
That's the problem, brother. That's like, so I try looking for it because I like that. I think it was Remco that came out with that.
Yes, yes.
I have a which I think I have a Buddy Roberts Fabulous Freebird Remco from that
Oh,
set, that a buddy gave me. But that ring is up there. I looked.
yeah.
Let's see.
The
Let's
cheapest
see.
one I seen was $150,
Shoo.
and I was like, I don't love it that much.
Let's see, Jonathan Ham. I paid $180 for my son a classic superstar set. It had the Undertaker, Kane, and Paul Bearer in it. I think it was I think I know which one. It was a 3-pack that they came in. Yeah, that's another expensive one, Jonathan. That's true. I never did get. Whenever they first came out, I was a kid, and I remember getting a bunch of classics. I want to kick myself in the butt for opening the packages. Because I remember one year, I got the Dusty Rhodes. It was the Dusty with the white cowboy hat and the big gold belt. I wish I would have kept it in the package, but I got the Dusty somewhere around here. That or my son took it from me. He's taking a lot of my old stuff. But yeah, man, I'm happy you're a collector. Let's see. Jonathan Helm has said something else. Let's see. I still got quite a few. I think the first ones I ever got, I was like 11 years old, and I still have it. It was Big John. Wow, Big John Stud. Okay. All right, show off. But no, like the Remco line, stuff like that, they're actually making kind of a comeback. If you
Oh
go
yeah.
do you ever travel up Lexington by chance?
No, and it's funny you should say that. Me and my wife were talking about one weekend we're going to go up.
So if you go up there, there is a store. It used to be called Toy Vomit. What is it called now? Hang on. Toy Headquarters. That's what it's called. If you go up there, they got a lot of stuff, and their prices are fairly decent. I know the owner. He's pretty cool. I met him a few times. Go check that store out. It's right next to the Shriners Clinic, I think.
Okay.
I'll send you their info at the best. Wrestling Mike D from Wrestling 3 on 3 states. Back in the day, you can spend $20 and get 5. Yes, you could get 5 action figures.
Yes, Lord. Now you pay $20, you barely getting one.
Yeah. What is it? Elites are now what, $22 or something like that? Get out of town. You're better if I found it. This is why I like Ringside collectibles. There is some elites that you can find on there that's under $20. That's not including shipping. But if you get a bunch of them, eventually shipping will be free.
Right.
But let's see. Jonathan Helm said something else. Is Toy Biz still a thing? I've got a lot of WCW action figures still in box for that company. I don't know if Toy Biz is still in business. That's a great question. I got a bunch of those over here on the shelf. I need to reorganize thanks to my cats. But yeah, I had a bunch of them growing up too.
I did too. I had, of course, my favorite was Luger and Sting. I had all the Horsemen.
Let's see. I got some. What was it in the 90s? Was it Galoob that had them? They were kind of set up as the LJN style.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them. I actually got 4 of them. I got Sting, the Steiner brothers, and the balding Arn Anderson, which that's I still think is pretty funny because they did an accurate bald spot on his head.
I actually, and I still have it because my nephew, when he was young, he told me he wanted it, and I'm gonna put it in my will for him to get it. I have the Ultimate Warrior that they made. That it was a few of them that they put on backwards. his jacket.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
I
The
have that one, and I'm making sure my nephew get that one because he always wanted it as a kid. Never been
no,
open.
wow. Okay, I mean, I'm very impressed with that. As you see behind me, I collect a lot. So not only video games, I'm a big collector. So it's nice to have fellow collectors on here. That way we can sit and talk about this. Uh, but so what do you guys do interviews on your network as well?
Yes, well, with the network, we also have different creators. We let them come on, like your show. We would let them come on, run their show, um, do interviews. We have a 2K wrestling promotion that we run. We have wrestling documentaries. We have wrestling bios. We got a wrestling figures federation. It is amazing. We try to do anything with wrestling. We have wrestling comedy. We have independent wrestling organizations on there. We are The goal for us is to put wrestling out for everybody to get. This is the way I look at it. Back when we were younger, we had all the different wrestling organizations, and they were regional. So you couldn't get it if you lived in Tennessee. You couldn't get the one in, say, in California, and vice versa. I think it's a redoing of that right now, and with different. You got to excuse me for being nervous because I get so excited when I talk
No,
about this.
no, bro, you're good. I can tell you're like me. You get nervous, excited.
Yes, and we want to let people see wrestlers before they become superstars, before they get to AEWs, to the Impacts, to WWE. See when they started. You could go and see some independent wrestling show and see this guy 5 years later, he could be the world champion. And you can say, man, I got to see when he built up, when he was in our area. And like I said, for different, like New York, you can see New York, you can see California. We're just wanting to put out wrestling for true wrestling fans,
And that's a
and make
great.
it make it easy. Again, there's so many different wrestling organizations stuff, but you have to try to research it and look Google and go here, go there. We want to have it in one spot where we can enjoy it. And like I said, and let other content creators get up there and show what you can do. And who knows where to come from. We just love wrestling, and we want to give wrestling to wrestling fans.
No, that's great. And that's the plan. Just my next question is usually what's the 5 year plan, but you've already said it. You just want to keep it going, keep it growing with different people coming on. So that's great. And Mike D from Wrestling 313 says shout out to the Wrestling Society Network. Uh, all right, Mike, you can stop kissing, but I'm kidding, buddy. I'm kidding, brother. I'm kidding. He stuck up for me last night on that troll. So thank you again, Mike, for that, my friend. So
I can tell you this. Um, you was saying the 5 year plan. Well,
yep.
we're actually in the midst of building a website.
Okay.
It's going to be the same vision where you can see different things, and again, to get to learn new things, just like as a good of wrestling fans we are. Well, you get the new guys who don't know what happened in the past, don't know the history. Well, come on there. You can find a lot of people who could tell you about the history. Then you could get the fans who are casual fans and want to learn more about it, you can get people who know it and be glad to talk about it. It's just a bill for any and everybody.
Okay. Wow. All right. So you guys are barking up my got the barking up the right tree with me because I do uh this. I do figure reviews. I do history. I do recaps for TCW and UCW. I do a lot of stuff just by myself. So I totally get doing all that and grinding. So that's amazing that you guys have your own network. I know our friends at Mayhem Media, they're trying to start their own thing, kind of like that, but they're going to integrate a lot of different podcasts as well, not just wrestling. They're doing entertainment, political, and all that. So that's cool. I see a lot of people out here doing that. But for you all just to do wrestling, there's a big fan base for stuff like that. So I agree 100% of you guys doing that, and I support that. So, but before we get off here, we're at the 30-minute mark here. What's some advice that you can give somebody that's trying to start up? It doesn't have to be a podcast. Like they're trying to chase their dream. They're trying to reach the brass ring for their next goal in life. What's a piece of advice that you can give for them?
What I would give to them is continue believing in your dreams. Do what you need to do, but don't give up on your dreams. If you have to put 20% into it at one point, make sure you put the 20% in it. Do your research. Do anything you're going to do, make sure you know the ins and out of it. And if you don't, make sure you can find someone that can help you, that's legitimate, that is not trying to take your money. And you don't have to tell every bit of your dream to help your dream come apart. Be cautiously optimistic, as I would like to call it.
No, that's phenomenal advice. Thank you, Professor. Now, you said you before we end, I want to see how many shows do you have going on your wrestling network right now?
Right now, we have, I want to say we have 4 organizations, promotions, in the talk with 3 to 4, and we're trying to not be the same with the organization either. Like we won't, if we may have a hardcore organization, well, we don't want it all be hardcore. We got family friendly organizations we're working on. We want, like I said, we want different things because not every wrestling fan is the same. As a wrestling fan, you like me, I like storytelling. So certain things I will watch for the storytelling. Some are not storytelling, some are blood and guts, and nothing's wrong with that, but it's just not my cup of tea. And we want to have a little of that. We want to, like I said, for everybody, we want to give a taste. And even if you have some suggestions, we love to take them, and we don't mind trying to work with different organizations. Maybe there's an organization that you like, man, they should be out there. They need a bigger platform. Well, send the email to me. Go on our website. Our Facebook page at the Wrestling Society Network, and give us your ideas. We love them. We love to hear them, and we're good at trying to work with anybody and everybody.
No, that's a phenomenal idea. Something else you can throw out there. I got a suggestion. Let's have a 2K tournament one day. Why not?
We're working on that too.
Well, let me know. I would 100% be a part of it because I love video and I love wrestling video games, and I think I'm pretty good. But there could be some people that's better than I am. Wrestling from the 313 earlier said great advice on the advice that you gave. So yeah, Mike D, you're 100% right. That was great advice. But before we go, now is the time to ask the professor himself, Professor Bear. And now that I know you're 6'4", I know why you got that nickname. Is there any questions that anybody here has for the professor himself or anything dealing with the Wrestling Society Network, because that what you guys got going on, I will have to say, is revolutionary. I know a lot of people throw that around nowadays, but that really is a revolutionary idea that you guys got going on, just to have different things for wrestling fans. It's a network built for and by wrestling fans. Can you guys say that? Can you guys patent that? That'd be a good slogan for you. Slogan for you. All right. Does anybody have any questions for this man before we take off here? Because if you guys start loading them up with questions like you did the other night, we'll probably be more than happy to do that. We had people come in right before we was about to leave on card subject to change. We stayed another extra hour. People were just giving questions and questions. Oh, well,
man. One thing too, let me throw out there that our app is on. It is on. Jesus.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I think Mike D got. Make sure y'all download the app on Roku, Amazon, and Apple TV. Way to go, Mike.
Mike, that's why you my guy, man. You are my guy. I appreciate you.
So I will definitely download it because I have Roku.
And we're working on getting it on LG and Samsung. We're hoping we can get there.
No, that'd be great. Good night, Irene. John Helm says I'm going to jump off here. It's good hearing from you guys, both of you, and I'll talk to you later. KO Mania Joe. Come on, John. They're never going to let me down. All right. I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. Professor is, aside from the Wrestling Society Network, that's on Roku, Amazon, and Apple TV. Is there anywhere else on social media that these fine folks can find you all on?
Oh, yeah. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, I believe. And you can find us on, on X.
Okay. Or Twitter, whichever one you guys want to call it.
Right.
It's all the same. But with that being said, folks, pro wrestling fans, this has been, is it this one? You guys got 1.8K members?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go ahead and join that real quick because I didn't join that. My mistake.
And for you, make sure you get on, and we love you to promote your own stuff. We want you to promote all your shows, any specials, anything. Make sure you, because that's what we want. We want the society to enjoy wrestling. If that means promoting your stuff, promote it. We have no problem. If you want to talk about cars that are coming to certain wrestling events, promote that. We are about wrestling. Thus the name, the Wrestling Society Network.
Well, I really appreciate that. I'll probably post the whole Spotify network because a lot of people on Spotify have loved the Podcasters Appreciation Month. So I'll definitely do that from now on. So thank you for that invite, sir. With all the great talk, every good thing must come to an end. This has been a great episode. I appreciate you contacting me last minute, and I appreciate Mike D for recommending me, brother. Thank you so much for that. We're going to have to, we may get you, I'll go ahead and say it here. Mike D, I want you on this show too. Probably I may invite you back towards probably last day of the month because I like to have a 8 round table of podcasters, just how they would enjoy doing this show or what else they can do, what's going on, just have a little catch up with everybody. So you're more than welcome to come on to that, sir, Professor, because I've had a great time with you, man.
Man, I appreciate the invite, and anytime you want me, I'm here for you, brother.
Hey, I appreciate that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, good night, Irene. How's my podcast going? Good night. No, Crander, we're not starting this. You come in last minute. You're trying to swoop in. We had a great thing going on. And now you're going to swoop in. Mike D, take care of this guy for me, will you, man? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Shout out to friends of the Squirt Circle. They're good people. So he thinks he's taking over my podcast, but it's not going to happen. But with that being said, pro wrestling fans, this has been Herman, Professor Bear, Cade, and I am Joe. Apparently, Ko Monroe. Wow, God. Actually, that has a nice ring to it, but I'm just got better. It just got better. Am I right? Well, sadly, Crander, we are ending the show. You came in last minute. Unless you have a question for Professor Bear before I sign off here. Do you have any questions or anything? Does anybody that just joined have any questions? Anybody at all? Don't all jump at once. All right, but with that, let's see. I did. Oh, okay. So Crander Q has a question. All right, Crander, what is your question, good sir? Before we leave, and if you ask something, why is the sky blue? I'm going to go all the way up to Wisconsin, kick that door in, and shave the beard off. But I don't know. I think I'm growing a better beard than Crander. He may force me to shave it here pretty soon. Let's see. We joke around like this all the time. Oh, come on. How cool is Joe's beard compared to my dad?
Well, I would say this, that my wife made me shave mine, or I would be in the running with y'all. So,
oh, good night, Irene. All right, Crander. Yeah, all right. I may block. I'm kidding. I'm not going to block you. But, folks, this is Joe Monroe again. Thank you all for your love and support of the show. Thank you all who tuned in live. For those who are listening on Spotify, thank you for tuning in on our Spotify channel. With that being said, folks, have a great night. Stay safe. And always, always, always support professional wrestling. That being said, we are out. Take care.
You've been listening to The Joe Monroe Show with Joe Monroe. Don't forget to like and subscribe.